And now that the All-Star game has passed, the NBA regular season is more entertaining. Like we just had a classic Clipper versus Lakers game, amazing, great game throughout. We've had some other good games on TNT, on NBA TV, on NBA League Pass. There's been some great NBA games since the All-Star game, and you can kind of notice the intensity rack up. You know, it picks up after the All-Star game. But the one thing that we can't fix, it seems like, is the intensity during the All-Star game itself. And not gonna lie, I was pretty down after this year's All-Star game for two reasons. Next year, the All-Star game is here in San Francisco at Chase Center. I'm planning on going. Even though I was down, I still plan on going. But I was like, well, what am I even going to go for next year? Like, this is not fun. This is boring. Like, layup line, dunk line, and a bunch of threes, which is cool. You're still seeing the best players in the world in front of you, all gathering in the same place, which is cool. But it's also like, come on, just try a little bit. Like, everyone's been using that. Like, they try harder in pickup games during the summer. They try harder at, a random college, at the Drew League. Why can't they just bring that intensity to the All-Star game? People have been flirting with the idea of copying the MLB, and whoever wins it gets home field in the finals. I think that's good. That's a good start. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. The one solution that I do have, and I think it's a good one, and it's based off the changes that happened this year in the NBA. So if you guys don't know, before you could miss as many games as you want. If your numbers were great, if people thought you had a great season, you would be eligible to make the MVP, to win the MVP, to be first team all NBA, to win comeback player of the year, rookie of the year, all that good stuff, coach of the year. Well, coaches don't really miss games, but you get the point. This year is the first year that they implemented the 65 game rule. So if you don't play 65 games, you're not eligible for any of those awards. MVP, first team all NBA, all of that good stuff. The reason that matters, not necessarily because you want to win those awards and they have a lot of prestige and it'll look good. You want that picture. You want to hang it up on your wall. You want to put it in your nightstand. When you retire, you want to talk about, I won, comeback player of the year, 6-man of the year, MVP. It's not just necessarily because of that. The main importance, or one of the main things, is that if you make the all NBA team or teams, then you're eligible for that Supermax or that Super Ultra Max. I forget what it is. I think if you're back to back, you could get the Super. If you win it that season, then you're eligible for the Super Max. So a lot of implications. If you get like a 4 or 5 year deal, that could be like $50 million. So we've seen players, I think Embiid got a little more hurt because he was trying to play to keep that 65 game minimum. So players are definitely aware of that. And I think that moves the needle. So the way we could implement it into the All-Star game, I believe, is you either remove the 65 requirement or you give them the MVP of the All-Star game is eligible for any award that season, regardless of injury or regardless of games missed, which I think would be good because as we're winding down in the end of the season, you might be getting close to 65, but you also want to rest so that you're fresh for the playoffs. Try hard in the All-Star game, and that gives you, you win the All-Star MVP, and now down the stretch, you have that flexibility of I could sit as many games as I want, still be eligible for, all NBA team, still be able to get the Supermax at the end of the season if I'm up, and still be eligible for MVP and all that stuff, and I'm able to rest strategically. If I pick up an injury, it's not the big of a deal. I'm still going to be eligible for all of these awards. Maybe we don't go the whole way where you could just miss as many as you want, but maybe you get like 10 more games. So like if maybe the winning team in the All-Star game gets 10 extra games, each player gets 10 extra games that they can miss and still be eligible. So instead of playing 65, the winning team only has to play 55. And the MVP gets no cap. They can miss as many games as they want. If they get injured, it's good. They're still eligible for those awards. I think that's something that people haven't talked about. From the analysis that I've done, I think it makes a little bit of sense. I think it will incentivize players to play hard. I think that's a good one. I think people want to make the first team all NBA. They want to be eligible for 6-man of the year, MVP, all that good stuff. And the monetary compensation is there. Like they want to get those all NBAs so that they're eligible for super maxes. So I think that's a pretty good idea. I haven't seen anyone talk about it, but I think it's a pretty solid idea. Let me know what you guys think. I think everyone's just trying to fix this. I was pretty upset how boring and bad the game was because the commissioner was going on shows. Pat McAfee, First Things First, I think, or not First Things First, but Pat McAfee, maybe First Take. He was doing media, and he was going there and telling them the players have been informed that we want them to try in the All-Star game. We put emphasis on this. It was in Indiana, so Halliburton was doing a lot of media too. He was going on Pat McAfee and other shows too, and he was talking about like, yeah, well, the commissioner let us know, and we're aware of that. We're gonna try this year, and for them to break the points record this year, embarrassing. So hopefully they do something to fix it for next year when it's here in San Francisco. But we're gonna hold our breath. If someone listens to this and thinks it's a good idea and has a connection, push it forward. Let them know. Take the cap off. Winning team doesn't have the 65 game restriction, or at least gets 10 more games. MVP of the All-Star game has no game restriction. Let's do it.